Hi everyone, and welcome to What's New in the Early Years webinar. And we're going to get started, and hopefully people will join us as we go. Let's see. Okay, so first thing we've got is brand new session planners. So these session planners are made up of 7 sections. We've got the creation station, let's get active, messy play, outdoor explorers, pretend and play, quiet time, and storybook detectives. As you can see, there's a few more than we had before, but the idea with this is that it gives you guys a bit more variety. In fact, your session planners have got 210 pages in, so you shouldn't run out of any activities. These session planners now are not so prescriptive, and they give you a lot more flexibility to enable the balance of the child-led and the adult-led activities. Each of the different sections also relates to one or more of the different areas of learning and development. So you've got physical development, communication and language, and personal, social and emotional development. And these are your prime areas. And then you've got your specifics, which are mathematics, literacy, understanding the world, and expressive arts and design. Each section doesn't necessarily relate to one area of learning. They cover loads of different ones. So as an example, outdoor explorers, you've got physical development in there. The children will be engaging, so they'll have communication and language. And then they've also got things like mathematics. They might be comparing the size of acorns, and then understanding the world, because obviously they're outside. Has anyone got any questions about that one? Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. We're going to do questions and answers at the end as well, so feel free to let me know. Okay, so here we've got an example of one of the session planners. So this is from Let's Get Active, and it is Blob Tag, which essentially is just tag, but with a bit more of an exciting name. As you can see, it's got the safety points in there, the equipment that you'll need. It says in bold that you should ask the children if there's any equipment that they think they might find useful. This encourages them to get involved in the session and makes up the child-led element of the activity. You might find you'll play it once and then they might decide they want to play it a different way, so you can work with what they want to do. You've got the basic instructions under how to play in case you've never played the game before. And in those sections, you can also see that there's some purple writing. Someone's got their mic on. In the purple writing, this is the questions that you can ask the children. So it might be open-ended questions such as how can we work out who the catchers are, or what superpower might the blob have during the game. These purple bits also encourage the children to talk to each other and encourage democracy. If they've got different ideas, how are we going to make sure that we can incorporate everyone's ideas so no one feels left out? You'll also see on there there's some bold sections. For example, this is another opportunity for the children to develop communication skills, and ultimately they're deciding the rules of the game. Here, these are the prompts for the practitioner, and this can be the part where you can see that, oh, still can't hear anything. Where's you on that? This is the part where the practitioner can promote the activity further and also prompt the children. You might find that some children are shy, and therefore you need to help them along the way a bit so they can communicate with each other. Again, you need to make sure that you're careful that the quieter children or less confident children don't get left out. We'll just go on to another session planner, and then if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. So here we've got the We've Lost Our Pencils, which comes from the Outdoor Explorers. As you can see, this is slightly different because at the bottom of the second page, you've got variation and progression. You'll see this on some of the session planners, but not all of them. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. So again, we've got the safety points, we've got the equipment. Again, ask the children if there's anything else that they might need for this session. They might have found an acorn or a pine cone that they might decide they want to use as well. And then for this one, you've got the activity, again, with the purple and the bold. So, for example, the questions you might ask in this one is what do we think the letter might be about? So in this activity, they find a letter from Mr. Fox and they've got to respond, but obviously they've lost their pencils. So they've got to think of creative ways to respond. The practitioner prompts are encouraging children to find and use different natural objects. So you've got sticks, or it might be stones. They could form letters instead of writing. It's completely up to them. You can see this one's also got the we can support learning through modelling. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to get involved. The more you get involved, the more the kids will enjoy it. With the variation, obviously, there are lots of different ways that you can do certain activities. So instead of creating a whole new session planner, we've put the variation section in so that you guys can just think of little twists onto the activities. So, for example, instead of Mr. Fox writing the letter, you might match it to your theme of the week. So if the theme of the week was circus, you might have the circus master writing a letter to the children instead. Again, the children might have their own ideas. You could also create your own, so the children can make letters for the other children in the group and then hide them. And then once they've been found, the children can reply using natural resources. Or creation station, so you can link it to a completely different section and see if there are any art resources such as pipe cleaners or feathers or pom-poms that the children might like to try and make their letters with, because again, they've got no pencils. Has anyone got any questions so far about the session planners? I'm aware that a few of you can't hear me.
I'm on it.
No questions so far? Don't be shy, guys. Okay, we can come back to them at the end, not a problem. Okay, so very exciting and new for 2018. We have got mobile phone style walkie-talkies. These are made by the same people that made our rugged racers. And we got them based on feedback from Ofsted, where we needed to improve our ICT resources. And these are a perfect opportunity because, again, they cover numerous different areas of learning. So you can see on there that they've got different coloured buttons. So basically, if you were holding the red walkie-talkie and you press the green button, you would then ring to the green walkie-talkie. These two children can then communicate with each other. The range is quite good. They can be used outdoors, but obviously if you're going to take them outdoors, please be careful with them. When I was a teacher, I used to have these in my classroom and the kids absolutely loved them. And when they came into head office, we did test them in head office as well, just to make sure they worked. So this is obviously something you would have in your base room. And this is a new bit I've created as well. So under Pretend and Play, you've got session planners, which relate to different resources in your base room, just to give you guys a bit more inspiration and idea around them. So this is a perfect example of one. Again, you can see we've got our safety points, our equipment, the activity, and then we've got variation and progression. So an example of the variation on this is you can take it back to the old-fashioned cup and a piece of string and a bit of imagination, and the children could make their own phones, which then could be a take-home activity, which would then stimulate the conversation about what they might have done during the day. A big key thing on this, and it's on the rugged racers, is the maintenance bit, which is down the bottom of the session planner. These phones have got rechargeable batteries, so you've got to make sure you've put them on charge. We've had plenty of people tell us stuff's not working, but they haven't charged it. In terms of maintenance, obviously these are expensive. So from our point of view, we really want them to last for a long time so that the children can get maximum enjoyment out of them. Similarly to other session planners, you can see you've got the bold writing for the practitioners as well. I'm just going to go back to the other session planner just to point something else out here. So if you go see where the activity section is, you can see that as a group with your guidance, the children should think about how they're going to keep themselves safe as they hunt for sticks. So you need to remember to set them boundaries, but at the same time, this is another Ofsted point. We found that the children weren't assessing risk for themselves and we were telling them all the time. So an example would be if you went into the sports hall and there were benches and things around, you could walk in and say to the children, can anyone spot anything that we might need to move or anything that might hurt us before you start their activity, and let them, put cones around things that might be in the way. This is a great hit for Ofsted. They'd absolutely love it if they could see it there. Any questions at all about the session planners, guys? No? Okay, we'll come back to them if we need to later. Oh, with the walkie-talkies as well, that middle circle button at the bottom, you can use to record messages. So if you were going to do a treasure hunt as an example, you could record clues or messages and hide them around different parts of the camp. And then the children would have to listen to their clues for the next stage. So there's loads of scope for different activities that you can do. Another important thing is to make sure they're at the children's height as well. Okay, so messy play. We introduced this in October, and I've seen lots of people getting really involved in it, lots of instructors and camp managers going home absolutely covered in it, and children as well, which is why we've now introduced aprons into your messy play box. A lot of people are scared to do messy play because they don't like to make a mess, but that's the whole point of it. Messy play lets the children, excuse me, use all their senses to explore, and especially the sense of touch. It offers the children loads of opportunity to mould and manipulate different materials that they might not necessarily have come across before. And the main thing is that there's not always a focus on making or producing something in particular, such as they do with artwork, as an example. I've seen a mixture of messy play activities. This photo here is an example from Putney at Christmas. One key thing you can see is the staff are really involved in it as well. And that's key to messy play. You're going to lose the children's interest if you don't show the interest yourself. On the Facebook group as well, there's loads of different ideas, so you don't just have to follow the session planners. People are constantly putting up things that they've seen on the internet and videos, and we send you a box with the resources in, but you can mix and match them as you please. And if you do find the new recipes, make sure you let us know, because we can add them in. Let's have a look. Oh yes, it also gives people the opportunity to explore the quantity, the consistency, whilst they're problem solving. So an example is giant bubbles, which is where you put the washing up liquid and water in a tough tray, give it a shake, and then if you put a hoop in it, you can lift it up and make a giant bubble. If it doesn't work, see if the children can work out why. Is there too much water? Is there too much washing up liquid? Anything like that. It's all about experimenting within certain limits, though, obviously, because you don't want to use all your resources on the first day. Any questions about messy play? Anything anyone wants to share about the things they've done? No, quiet bunch tonight. Okay, so there's a couple of important things we need to remember about messy play. As I said earlier, we've put aprons in there now, disposable aprons for the children. They may be a bit too big for them, so make sure you tie them up accordingly. It's really important they wear these, especially if they're doing ones with paint or food colouring in, because it will stain their clothes. We also provide a number of tarpaulins on the table or the floor, so you need to put them on the table or the floor, under the tough tray. This will protect the school's equipment as well. We do provide the food colouring, but if you're going to use it, you should dilute it, and also only use it if the session planner says to do so. Although this may seem like we're stopping the children from then exploring, we're also stopping their clothes from getting stained. The tough tray needs to be cleaned after every use, and in particular when it comes back to the warehouse. As you can imagine, we don't have the time to clean 80 tough trays at the end of the summer. As important as I said earlier, don't be afraid to get involved and get messy. Flour, corn flour, it will all wash out of your clothes. It's really, really, really good fun. And like I say, the more the children see you get involved in it, the more they're going to want to be engaged in it as well. Also new in your practitioner file, which will be in your big black early years bag, you've now got visual aids for the messy play, so the children can see for themselves what they need to be putting in. These are laminated, so hopefully they'll last long, but if they do get a bit dirty, if you can just wipe them down, that would be absolutely brilliant. Any questions about messy play at all? No questions? Okay, we can come back to it. That's not a problem. Okay, so packing down, obviously it's really, really important. A lot of you will have done it before. For those of you that haven't, it's basically just packing all your kit away again from when you got it out at the start of the week. So your camp manager will have your early years inventory, so you can ensure that the equipment goes back in the correct places. Some of it will go in boxes. For example, the train track and the rugged racers go into boxes, whereas other resources, as you can see on the picture, such as the baby bath, the dressing up, they all go into the big bag, but then into the smaller bags as well. Your camp manager will have the guidance to this, so if you're not sure, please ask them or just get in touch with me and I can help as well. A key thing which people seem to forget is that the early years poster wallet the session planners and the file all go back in the bag. They do not go in the red and black box that your camp manager has. So it's really important that everything goes back in the right place, because it really helps us at this end as well. Has anyone got any questions about pack down? Very quiet. You'd also be amazed at the amount of children that actually enjoy helping pack down, especially with the early years. We've had it before, I've seen it done, where one camp, the children packed away this bag at Christmas and decided that that meant they were going on to holiday. So as you can imagine, that went on to a whole new activity. So it can be fun for all. No questions? Okay. That's pretty much the update, guys. So if anyone does have questions, please say now. You can unmute if you'd prefer to talk instead of type. Any other questions about anything else to do with early years, not necessarily to do with this session at all? Nothing at all. No questions. Okay, guys. Well, if you've had all the information that you'd like, oh, was that someone about to talk? No. Well, if you've got any questions or anything, I'm on the Facebook group, or just get in touch with me at head office if you want to be added into the group and you're not already on there. I'll stay on here for a bit in case anyone does have any questions. But I hope you have good weeks on camp and enjoy getting messy doing early years. Thanks.